Hey guys, welcome back to the BuzWeaver channel. And in our top stories today from the New York Post, Biden is the least popular president in 70 years, below even Nixon and Carter. Scathing poll finds. Now, you guys may remember back in February when they had the Scholars poll, Biden was 14th in the Scholars presidential ranking, and Trump was last, they said. Oh, and of course, when you look them up, it's the American Political Science Association, which is funded by government. So, obviously, if you want your fundings, just like we say with the establishment, if you're a part of the establishment, of course, you want your subsidies, you want your tax breaks, you want your contracts, you want your leads, you want your inside story. So what do? You cooperate with government and you say things that they want to hear. So it comes as no surprise that just in February, they had this scholarly presidential ranking. They put Trump last and Biden at 14th, of course, as I said. Being part of the establishment, particularly in academia, as we're seeing now, as a lot of the students are being removed. But nonetheless, I bury the lead. Joe Biden is the least popular commander-in-chief at this point of his presidency in the last 70 years, below even Richard Nixon and Jimmy Carter, according to a blistering new poll, imperiling his chances of re-election. And I'm not entirely sure about that because the Establishment Uni-party isn't quite done. Now, they aren't very successful at what they're doing with their lawfare because I think at this point you can clearly see that there is a coordinated effort against Donald Trump. And I think people are starting to realize this because Trump is coming out and explaining these things, as we have covered here on the channel, because, of course, in the fraud case, there was no victim. And in the situation with Braggs right now is that he escalated it or moved it from a misdemeanor up to a felony, and it was suggesting that there was this kind of a underhanded maneuver for political campaign finance violations, which never happened either. Biden 81 notched a dismal 38.7% approval rating for the first quarter of 2024. The venerable Gallup poll found in a survey released Friday 3 points lower than half of the one-term George H.W. Bush at the same point in his presidency. With about 6 months remaining before Election Day, Biden stands in a weaker position than any prior incumbent, the pollsters concluded. And, of course, he is. There's so much going on, but I would just say this. If you're buying groceries for yourself or for your family, if you're paying your bills, if you're taking care of your expenses, if you're doing those three things at the minimum, you should be painfully aware of what's going on. In contrast, former President Donald Trump, who is vying with Biden for a second White House term, had a 46.8 approval rating at this point in his presidency. Even Nixon and Carter had higher ratings than Biden with 53.7 and 47.7 respectively, and Eisenhower had the highest rating at 73.2%, according to the poll. Of course, you notice that Obama isn't on here. And Obama is the dream child of the Democrats and the establishment. Amazing, isn't it not? The results of Gallup's presidential approval polls, which the organization has compiled since the presidency of Dwight D. Eisenhower began in 1952, have been strongly predictive of re-election successes. So there you have it, ladies and gentlemen. Absolutely interesting and amazing. Biden's 13th quarter approval average lowest historically, and this is from Gallup itself, showing the various polling here, as you can see, as we just mentioned. Eisenhower, of course, at the top, then Nixon, then Carter, then Reagan, and then down near the bottom, of course, there's Trump as well. But it's important to note here, and I didn't grab this earlier, so let me just do it now. And that is, as we have talked about here on the channel, when it comes to the approval ratings, we know that Donald Trump got the most negative coverage by the media as opposed to Joe Biden. Just under half of U.S. adults say early coverage of the Biden administration has offered mostly positive assessments. And, of course, when you have the full weight of the establishment behind you and you are ranked so low, it goes to show you that people themselves out there right now, like I said, taking care of themselves, taking care of their families, buying groceries, paying bills, and dealing with expenses, can see that there's a problem. They can definitely see that there's a problem out there, and I would argue that the Establishment Uni-party was going to make sure that Donald Trump did not win so that they could recoup from what they perceive as the damages that Donald Trump caused them. So when you hear about this booming economy or these other platitudes that are given to Biden, clearly it's because the establishment is benefiting from it. So I just found it fascinating. I'd like to get your thoughts and opinions down below. You guys are taking care of your families. You're taking care of yourself. You're taking care of your affairs. You're taking care of your situation. Do you not find it much more expensive than it was prior to Joe Biden? With him not having renewed Donald Trump's tax breaks and these sorts of things, and not to mention the fact that under Donald Trump there was no wars, there was no invasions, we didn't have all this chaos going on. It was starting then because, of course, the left were angry that Donald Trump had won, so of course this is all built up. But it was precipitated by, Biden being elected. It was just continued, and it grew, and so now here we are now having to deal with so many of the social problems and cultural problems that we're all dealing with. But I'd like to hear your guys' thoughts about that down in the comment section below. Do you agree with the polling here from Gallup when they asked regular everyday American people if things aren't going very well under Biden? Do you agree? And apparently they did. But nonetheless, guys, I want to thank all of you across NewTek, Rumble, BitChute, and Odyssey for your guys' continued support. Thank you for the likes, the shares, and the comments there, as well as everyone here on YouTube. I know that's one of the main platforms that people use in social media. There's a lot because, of course, down below this video, I have my social media links as well as affiliate links, which always helps out the channel, so you guys can take advantage of those. But appearing there on the screen for all of you watching on YouTube, that would be the channel icon you guys can click on to subscribe, as well as to select notifications. That way you know when there's content here on the channel. And I'll see all you guys in the next video.